So it's Wednesday the 23rd of June, 24th. I'm out in the woods again. Sorry I haven't uploaded much in the last couple of weeks. I've been working on a friend's house. So, and I've also been working on a much lighter mini monitor, which I'm probably going to have to adapt. So I finally got a camera working with the little tiny LCD screen that I got ages ago, little 3.5-inch one designed for Raspberry Pis. And yeah, I finally got it running today, and that's what we're using. So there'll be some images of that later. And I'll try and give you a lowdown on it. But yeah, so I'm pretty pleased with that. Yeah, I've been working to renovate a friend's house, and they are long days. You know, I'm like home to home in 13 hours. So yeah, there's a lot of other stuff going on. Looks like the lockdown in the UK is continuing. Yeah, this definitely needs a sunscreen, a little shield. I can see it pretty good. And man, is it hot today. Got to be about 27 even with a breeze, which if you live in anywhere other than England doesn't seem all that warm. But if you're in the UK, that's baking. We could walk down there. I'm not going to. It's far too steep. So yeah. And I've already... Oh no, I have to go down there. That's a shame. Yeah, I'll go around in a circle. So yeah. So the little 3.5-inch screen looks like it'll work. It needs a kind of a sunshade. Well, that's not going to be difficult to build. It's just going to make it slightly more bulky, but it's not going to make it any way anymore. Essentially speaking, the 3.5-inch screen is in a little shaped case made of foam board because it's a prototype. And if you only need one, then basically you're good. You don't need to build it for manufacture. You don't need a 3D printed case. I had the foam board laying around, so the net cost to me for everything was probably under a tenner, which is good. I love stuff like that. Oh, so yeah, I've already done some housework and some shopping today, so that's good. So yeah, so at the moment I haven't really managed to get the Firefly camera to work with this, but I've brought it with me so I can use it to show you the rig. And yeah, we'll get that done. So the Firefly will not be steady, but it does have image stabilization, so that's quite cool. So I thought I'd bring it out for a test, bring the GoPro rig out for the test run. Thank you very much to Kevin is a Geek for supplying the GoPro, which you no longer had a use for. Best way to acquire tech gear. So yeah, so if this works, we may be switching to the GoPro for the Steadicam, purely because it's got a better HDMI out, which is what the little baby screen needs. I'll talk about it in a bit. Now I'm going to be breathing heavily. Sorry. I've got to start getting out for a run. So I've learned one thing. The screen definitely needs a shade. Well, that's just 3 pieces of foam board. And the reason I started doing this in the first place is this. Oh. Yeah, and that's how I wanted to. Everything needs a sunshade. Well, let's just stop for a minute. There we go. I can actually see myself, and you can see the background, and I can actually see whether I'm in frame or not. Even though I've got kind of a reverse picture. But yeah, that's what we're after. And we'll have to see what I've got when we get back. So yeah, been building, been watching some useful stuff. I've been building shower cubicles and setting up toilets and plumbing in sinks and all kinds of crazy stuff, lots of woodwork. And mostly me handing tools to my friend and going and finding stuff. Which is pretty exhausting if you're running up and downstairs all day and it's boiling hot like it is now. So yeah, I've been busy. So it's probably only going to be a short video. This is the trial run. I'll leave it up to you to make up your minds. And yeah, I'll get it done. So I'm going to stop in a minute when we get into this. Little covered in bit so I can see what I'm doing. You can have a look at the rig. Yeah. I can see myself because there is shade, so this definitely needs that sunshade. So that's that camera. I'm now going to use this camera to shoot the rig. So right, so this is the rig that I've built. So the front is a very thin bit, which is the rig itself, and I wanted to give it some protection. So I put in a layered foam ball case like those Raspberry Pi cases you see, and that's on a selfie stick grip. So I had to make another bit that could actually hold the selfie stick, kind of like Let's see. You should be able to see it there. So it's just layers of foam board with some gaffer tape onto, some duct tape on rather, to hold it all together. And that's connected to a magic arm I had kicking around. These little arms are like little tension tighteners. So you turn that little thing there and it loosens or tightens every single joint all at once, based on a few little cams inside. So that means I can move it all around. And there, look. And then that's in the side of the GoPro, and then that USB cable powers that. And the HDMI cable goes out to the GoPro, which is recording. Yay, infinity! And then the Purple Panda is connected over there. So yeah, but the actual outlay was a bit of foam card, which is about 75p a sheet, and some duct tape, which I already have, and about £6 for the little camera monitor. So yeah, so you've just got an HDMI and it's powered off USB, which plugs into the gimbal and is uses takeoff power. So it's pretty cool. So we'll see whether that's any use when we get back. But I thought you'd like to see it, especially Kevin is a geek. So your gift is being used, you know, pretty conscientiously. But we'll see. I don't know what the video quality is going to be like. I don't know what the sound quality is going to be like. I've had a little practice and it seemed okay, but we'll see when we get back. So yeah, I'm going to switch this off now. And get that turned off. Yeah. The only downside is in brilliant sunshine you can't see the screen, but yeah. Excuse this, I do need a drink. It's very hot out here. This isn't soda, this is a vitamin and energy sort of effervescent tablet. They're pretty handy. So yeah, so now I can talk into the camera and I can see what I'm saying. Not particularly level, but I'm hoping the camera is leveler than it looks. Yeah, it looks pretty level on the screen. But yeah, so a little HDMI screen for next to no money, which should also be pretty handy for, you know, providing I can find a battery or power connector for it. Should also be good for my other cameras if I need a monitor, you know, because it's HDMI. So I should be able to run a super long cable if I need a little tiny teeny film monitor. So yeah, I might have to get myself a little 90-degree bend HDMI cable to make it work on a tabletop. But yeah, it's pretty small and pretty convenient. So I'm going to call that visually it's a success, because I can now see myself when I'm filming, which is important if you've got crap around your mouth or any other thing like that, or you've got the camera pointing the wrong way. You can just eyeball it and make sure you're framed. So yeah, I'm pretty pleased. And the extension at the back allows it to be gripped vertically or horizontally, which again is good. Which means that it's a useful accessory, provided you can power it, for the EOS M as well. And that's really how I like to think of camera accessories. I like camera accessories that you can use on multiple cameras and that don't cost you a lot. Now I could have spent £100 on a little monitor, but quite frankly I can do that with a 7-inch tablet if I want to, from the 600D. But it's a lot harder to do from the EOS M, because, you know, they're software based. You know, that's £100 I don't need to spend really, because 99% of the time all I'm doing is framing. So yeah, it's not bad. I like it, and I constructed it in such a way that nothing's actually mounted apart from a little thin strip of duct tape, which you can just peel off. Nothing's actually mounted to the camera, the monitor. So if I want to use it for a Raspberry Pi, and I have the connector to do it, I can just use it as an HDMI Raspberry Pi monitor. It's the reusability that you really want out of this stuff. All these little projects should be like Lego. So yeah, so if you want a cheap little monitor that's a bit more usable than the last one we put on the EOS M, and it can be internally powered. So yeah, I think I've got an adapter somewhere that you'd be able to externally power it. And you just need a little battery pack and a reasonably long USB cable. Also, if you're in situ, if you're indoors, you can just plug it into the mains with a phone charger. It's pretty handy that way. Whew. So, yeah, the image probably isn't quite as steady as it is with the other camera, the Firefly, but it has the potential, if I'm setting it up right, to be better framed with the GoPro. And it's reassuring, when I haven't got this crap all over my face or stuff in my hair, and I can at least look at myself brutally, make sure I've got no crap around my chops. And hopefully the audio quality will be good. But it's just another thing in your arsenal, when you're trying to prepare a shot or you want to do something creative. If you've got the option to do something a bit more useful, then perhaps you should. Oh. Outside of that, the world just keeps getting weirder. Lots of strange stuff going on. The COVID crisis is going ahead. The UK is kind of relaxing all the rules, which will put a lot of people in danger and could see a spike. We're already seeing little bits of a spike day to day. There's more and more people succumb to it. What happens when you get a situation like where you I might as well turn around. How do you deal with that, if you're a politician? Where you're doing something to save the economy at the expense of human lives, especially since at the same time statues are being removed or forcibly or by local authorities, and for doing horrible things. I mean, how are they going to be removed? Is there going to be a statue of Boris Johnson? Are survivors of families that were devastated from the COVID outbreak, are they going to tear those down? If you're at all interested in legacy, then surely it's better to be remembered as a hero than a villain. I don't know. I don't get it. I can't even begin to visualise, with so much at stake. I mean, if we were just continuing on and there wasn't an environmental crisis going on at the same time, but there's a finite amount of time in which the world governments can sort it out. That you've got a political, a health and an environmental crisis basically kicking off at the same time. It's pretty amazing. The environmental one is the big one, but nobody's talked about the environment in such a long time. It's unlikely that she'll ever hear this, but I feel real sympathy for Greta Thunberg. She put a whole life on the line for more than a year to try and push it, and just say, look, this is important. None of your crap matters if there's no planet to live on. And yet we're seeing, this upswing in ethical behaviour. Yeah. So I don't know what's going to happen. I'm still amazed and confused. I know I wouldn't be able to. If you had the power to sort something out about it, how do you not? We're not even asking the guy to pick up a spade or, do some heavy lifting or exert effort. All he's got to do is go, yep, it's a thing. We need to fix it. And he's got the power to get other people to do it. Like Alejandro Ocasio-Cortez said, there's always money if we need to fight a war. But people don't seem to be able to see it as a war. And, as my friend Chipko would say, you shouldn't use combative language if you're trying to prove ethics, because the violence in your language undermines the fact you're trying to be ethical. But it is a struggle. It's going to be a struggle. And, people die at the end of that struggle. And during it, lots of them going to die. So yeah, I do not know. I'm trying to be a more ethical person. And it's a lot of hard work. I mean, speaking of which, Chipko and I will be doing a podcast at some point in the near future, possibly even this evening, to to address, the ethical change sweeping across humanity. If it exists, where has it come from? What you can do about it? How to join in? What are the tools to, make it change? I mean, don't get me wrong, they achieved stuff. Feminism marched forward, racial equality was addressed, at least in part. An awareness of how awful nuclear weapons were, a start of the awareness of the environmental movement. Things happened. The war in Vietnam, if you're an American, ended. That was all down to the swaying of public opinion. And I think what's interesting about a similar shift now towards, racial and gender equality, the end of war, the environment, all those same questions are being asked again 2 generations later. But this time, there's the internet, there's Twitter. But one thing I have noticed, and that worries me, is that people walk around with a supercomputer connected to the internet in their pockets and then still ask stuff. Like if you want to know something, why is not your first step to Wikipedia? Why is not your first thought and your first query to be Google? Now, it doesn't mean you're going to get the right answer, but that's the start of your journey into understanding the subject you're interested in. So that kind of bothers me. That people don't automatically do that. I mean, I know older people of my age do it, but, much younger people don't seem to realise that they have the world's biggest library, and they'll send tweets of what they're having for dinner. I mean, there's the other end of the spectrum where you can't have a conversation with people without them looking something up in Google. If you say such and such is so, and they'll look it up on Google. It's like, it's almost like they're, all too eager to call you a liar or to correct you, which is weird. And I see it happen all the time. So yeah, so there is this new machine, there is this new tool to help unify people, and I think it's starting to work. And I think people are starting to realise that they need to act. But whether they act in time, whether there's a straightforward way of doing it, I mean, that's kind of what, the podcast is going to be about. A series of discussions, possibly with guests. Oh, looks like I am going to go this way. But yeah, ethics, innit? We should have some. And I was... this is probably something that's going to come up for people watching this, because I asked it immediately. Chipko said, "Oh, we should do a podcast on ethics." And I was like, okay. So, fair enough. Ethics, what's the difference between ethics and morals? And fortunately he was able to let me know. So I will illuminate you somewhat. And its morals are, you know, culturally dependent, whereas ethics are, you know, ethics are just ethics, you know, is the ethical treatment of people and, you know, things, you know, what's the right thing to do, you know, on a sort of more scientific level than morality, you know. And morality can be religiously dependent, which is not constructive because there are lots of different religions, because an awful lot of people wanted an indoor job with no heavy lifting. So yeah. And that's where I'm going to leave it. I shall assemble this and upload it, and thanks for watching. Do take care. Where am I going? Who's going with me? And never get the order messed up, and I'll keep doing this until I die or you find someone better. And I've probably got to raise this up so it's on the same sort of level as the camera, but I don't know how I'm going to do that. So yes, thank you, thank you again, and thank you to all the people that support me that you can see at the end of this video. See ya.